So a couple of years ago, someone messaged me during my live podcast, and they described that their commissioner did something that they probably shouldn't have done. So we're going to talk about that. This is one of my favorite stories, one of my favorite examples of what I'm talking about when I discuss the importance of fantasy commissioners embracing the concept of being transparent. Now, in this instance, it demonstrates a clear case of a lack of transparency and the trouble it can cause. I talk about being transparent all the time, and all this means, it simply means that a commissioner is upfront with any official business that they engage in. Okay? They communicate fully and openly with the members of their league. They don't do any crazy stuff in the darkness of the night, and everyone just finds out that a rule has been changed. Shady commissioners. We know who they are. We've dealt with them all. I get emails. I hear about them all the time. It's insane. I don't know why people are in leagues with shady commissioners, but shady commissioners, they need to be called out for their actions. We get that part. However, even commissioners with the best intentions will sometimes be unfairly accused of doing something wrong. It just comes with the job of being a commissioner, but that's, why we have the podcast. That's why I write Commish RX. So anyway, anything you can do as a commissioner can be called into question, which is why it's important for fantasy commissioners to do their best Boy Scout effort to keep everything they do above board. Be transparent. Okay, so let's call the commissioner of this story Bob. Bob created the draft order for his fantasy football league by pulling the names out of a hat. Okay. That seems pretty innocuous, right? Right? It turns out that Bob ended up with the first overall pick. Uh-oh. Now, according to the person who contacted me that day, the problem that they had with Bob wasn't that Bob pulled the names out of his hat. The problem, you see, was that Bob told everyone that's what he did. No one could confirm this because he did it without anyone present. There were no witnesses. He did it within the quiet confines of his home. No one was there to watch, to see the actions of the commissioner. Was he shady? I don't know. In the simplest sense, it's not being transparent, right? We can all agree on that one. That's an easy one. So was Bob telling the truth? Maybe he was. Had he cheated? Well, some people felt that he might have. Could they have simply trusted their commissioner? Yes, they could have. But his actions, however, did nothing to encourage trust. Now, maybe Bob is a trustworthy guy, and maybe he did exactly what he told them. The problem is that he couldn't prove it. He acted in a way that was extremely hard for him to defend. So how were they ever to be sure that Bob got the highly coveted first pick legitimately? And how do they know? How will they ever be sure that he didn't just select it for himself instead? They couldn't do that. And he couldn't prove it otherwise. Right? It was just him saying it. Game over. Now we can fix this. This is an easy fix, fellow commissioners of mine. You see, in our own past, some of us, and I'm talking real life, some of us have been accused of doing things that we didn't do. And unfortunately for some of us, our word was not enough as we tried to defend ourselves. I can tell you a story. Still burns the hell out of me to this day. Anyways, another time, another place. But a lot of us can relate to being in a position where there's nothing we could say to pull our accusers away from the dark side. Similarly, it didn't matter if Bob actually did the right thing. His word was all he had when his accusers decided to challenge him. It just wasn't enough. His lack of transparency instantly caused league tension. Most importantly, the untenable predicament that Bob found himself in was completely avoidable. So commissioners, you do not want to set yourself up like that. Don't be like Bob. Be transparent. Until next time, this is Reginald James, the Commish. See ya.